All right, what's going on, you guys? What's going on? Welcome back to another week on the charts. I know last week I didn't give you guys a market outlook video, but we're gonna make up for it this week. I'm gonna go over US 30, NOS 100, and gold for our people that trade futures. That is YM, NQ, and GC. Quick update before I get ready to just hop right into this. First things first, I reviewed all the applications for the Wealthy Traders cohort that is beginning in September. Um, Probably after, I'm not gonna say today, tomorrow morning. If you have been accepted, you guys will receive an email, and then following that email, you will also be sent another email, which should give you guys the link to actually enroll and actually pay for the actual cohort. For those that are wondering, oh, like when was the application? When did you send it? Da, da, da. I talked about this in previous videos as well as I talked about it on social media. So if you missed the first one, there probably won't be another one till next year. Don't have the dates for that, but this year we are starting the second week of September. I repeat, we are starting the second week of September. But you guys will learn more about that when y'all. If you got accepted, you'll get an email in regards to that. And yeah, I ain't gonna say too much. Just read the email when it drops tomorrow morning. Now, without further ado, enough of me yapping. Let's get right into the charts. We got a lot of things to talk about. I'm gonna make sure I'm filming this an hour before the market open. So as soon as the market open, the video is gonna be released, and y'all can watch it as y'all getting ready to hop on the charts. Markets moved beautiful last week. This week, I'm expecting the markets to also move like literally the same. We got like a couple volatile news coming out. A lot of red folders, a lot of medium folder news, orange folder news, according to Forest Factory. So I'm gonna talk about all that. We're gonna get into the technicals, and then I think that's gonna be it. So starting off, you know what? Since I feel like I don't usually start off with this pair first, we're gonna start off with gold. So let's hop into it. All right. So I said first we're gonna start off with gold. So let me slide over here and let's get right into it. I ain't gonna lie, I understand. I told you this before, but I really understand the hype behind trading gold. I truly do. I definitely understand it. Like it's a period like when it comes to following price action and following structure, is definitely one of my favorite periods that like literally follow a trade to a T. Like if you trade Nas, there's no reason why you're not trading gold, right? I'm saying again, if you trade NOS 100, if you trade NQ, it's really no real reason why you're not trading gold. All you got to do is trade the same way you trade NOS and just leverage it a little bit more to feel like the same, to gain the same reward on a trade. Yes, I know it can be a little choppy, but once you really start understanding like what you're looking for in the charts, I swear this pair becomes so simple to read. But that's my little rant. Let's get into what am I looking for this week. So as you can see, we had talked about this like 2 weeks ago. We had downtrend, lower highs forming on gold. Overall, market was considering to stay in a downtrend. Then, in the month of June and July, the market started to go sideways and started to consolidate, right? Then we got into August. August finally gave us our breakout to come back to test. Once we already went sideways and started creating like the same low, this was our indication that us know that potential reversals was coming on the charts. So we got that consolidation. Then the market decided that it wanted to break out of this zone that it was in. And now we're seeing the product of that. So it broke out the zone to come back to test this previous lower high structure up here, right? Once it got into this level, we saw it consolidate a little bit last week. And then once again, it broke out again for the buys, targeting the next lower high structure, right? Which is here. And if it continues to push here, now obviously these are our next 2 or 3 levels that we'll be paying attention to for gold. Now, this is just off the day chart. Now, let's go 4 hour. Let's go. We can go 4 hour and 1 hour after this. But 4 hour wise, like I said, we just saw on the day chart. This was the previous lower high structure. If I'm consolidated and continue to break out, here's the next lower high structure that's in question. Think of gold like a video game. Each new levels have different requirements. It defeated this boss, so now we come into the next boss level. If it fails to close above this high, like let's say at 6 o'clock, the market decides to sell off back inside the zone, which I wouldn't be surprised because this is a resistance, right? This could just be a manipulation that happened on Friday. And then today we'll see that gold starts to make its sales and retest and pull back inside the zone. If that is the case, right? If that is the case, what I will personally want to see on the charts first, you know what? I'm gonna leave that right there for right now, just for the sake of this. And then I want to pay attention to our mini supports on our lower time frame. So we have this is the one our this is the higher low structure right here that it bounced, it pulled back and retested. This was the previous resistance structure that became a new support. Once it broke out the zone, came back to retest, market fell to close back inside and pushed up. These are my kind of like my two. Really, this is the area too. But since this one is still too close to the high, I'm gonna just put a mental one right here. I don't really care about this one per se, because like it really don't matter in regards to since like the resistance, I wouldn't take this. I wouldn't take this area for a buy. Now that we got our levels, let's go into like what I want to see. Preferably, what I could see happening market opens. Preference, honestly, I would rather it gap up than gap down. Because that way, if it gap up, we can anticipate a target back to here, and then from here we take buys off of here, and then we look to target the high. And then, of course, if it fails to make a new high, then we know that we can start looking for downtrends, opportunities on go for the sales, right? And then we'll take sales back down to the same zone structure, or potentially even looking to target this low right here, right? So that's already like that's one scenario. If the market gets up, we look for the retest back down to here. We're not selling it our way back down to here. We're waiting for the retest here, and then once it comes here, we take buys to bounce off of this structure for a pullback entry, and we can either hold this trade for a swing or we could just be comfortable and chill for just let's say this is 45, 65. 75 is already 10 points, 20 points right here. Like this is already the market's so volatile. This is already like a lot right here just off of just one pullback. So there's no reason why um anybody couldn't make no money off of just a pullback buy entry, just in case the market do decide to go for the sale. So this option one. Option two will be it says, skip what you're talking about, Ed. We're just gonna straight sell off. And it sells all the way down to this structure, right? And this becomes the key buy entry area that we look to take buys. And then once again, when it comes back up to this level, this is 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be like a fake out. It would need to either push and really break out of there for the buys, or the moment that we, if not, the moment that we see that it starts consolidating and slowly acting, don't be like, oh, yeah, it's about to break up, it's about to go up. No, it's not. It's about to sell and potentially come back to retest this zone before taking off for the buys again that you wanted, or it's going to sell and then potentially come all the way back down to this blue zone. So the common factor is that y'all noticing so far is this is the range. Like it's either this level, or this level. These are the three different levels I'm expecting gold to tap into. I'm not expecting gold to full retails back down to 43.80, 43.60. If it does it later on in the week, cool. I'll just talk about it in the Discord. If not, like, oh well. Like I'm really just anticipating this level, this level, or this level. My preference, I'm not a 100% a big fan of this entry for the buys and trying to look for continuation. I would rather see like a nice retracement back into this structure or into this structure, and then that would be my preference. This is kind of like a one of those like scalper plays where, all right, you know what? Since you're bouncing and rejection, I'm gonna just take this scalp off of this back up into this structure. All right, so I guess if anything, let me make this some orange. So my main entry that I would look for will be here. And remember, look, let me get the disclaimer. These are just my trade ideas. These are not trade signals. So do what you want with this information. I am not reliable. So what happens? But this are the setups that I would personally be looking for. So I literally, like, you see how close this is? 10 points right there. Boom. That's an easy, like, simple trade. 20 points, 30 points. And then if I want to go for the swing, I can. 40 points. So, like, this is already a clean buy trade just off of this move right here. And I'm going to go ahead and download this, say that for the chat. And then I'm probably not going to look for the full 40 points. So I'll probably just focus on TP1 through 3. And then whatever happened after that is YOLO. I'm not gonna really care. And then like this would be like a main entry for me. And then obviously same, it's really the same concept. I can either go buy limit here, right off the wick, like 45.60, 44.60, just to make sure I get wick into the trade. And then stop loss will just be under this zone, like 46.40. So that'd be a 20-point stop loss. And then vice versa. we really can go 20 for 20, but I'm still just do my standard. So this will be another one. 1, 2, 3, 30 points. Another clean buy entry. And then if I'm ready to look for sales, right, or if the market is finally done trending for the uptrend, and we notice that after it finished the highs, it's starting to create lower highs. This is when we look to take sales off of this stretcher here or off this stretcher right here. Or if I'm trying to really be on that, I could take it out the top tick. But that really comes down to like, unless you really know what you're doing, don't even worry about trying to time the sales. Just wait for the market to start showing you that it's trending downwards. If I come over to the left, let me see if I can find an example to show y'all. Something like this. Here, you see how it just kept pulling back, and then eventually it finally started pulling back for the buys, and boom, boom, boom. Same concept. Let me see if I can find a better one. You can kind of see it all right here. It's so downtrend. It pulled back for the buys, still letting you know it's in a downtrend, pull back again for the buys. Still overall downtrend. So don't try to force buys at the highs for no reason when you can just take the full move back down for the sales. Right? So that is officially everything we are looking for over here on gold. I'm trying to think. I gave y'all two buy entries. This remembers, let me know later on in the day. If it starts setting up for the sale, I will give y'all a sell play. I think what I'm gonna look for is here, price trap around here. Look for sell continuations right there. I think that'd be the trade. And then we'll go 4,600. I'm gonna go here. I ain't gonna put it at the high because obviously, as you can see, that's a 30-point move. This will kind of be like a retracement. I like this. I like this setup too. Now that I'm looking at it. And then we're gonna go 45.90, 45.80, 45.70. That'd be a fire trade. Retested support. I gave us the buy setup already. We take buys up here. Boom. TP 1 through 3 smash. Pulls back right into the sell entry. Take the sell entry at 4,600. And then literally, I can literally show you. Let me see if I can replay. Like the exact scenario can literally play out like this. Because this entry can literally just be like a pullback. The same way it came, gave us a double top here, and it sold like 3 candles is already TP1. By the time I really push that last candle, it should be hitting TP2 and TP3. So when I fast forward and we get back to like, okay, cool, like what we looking for tonight or later on to this today, it should literally be the same as that scenario. Like if it sells off first, great. If it gaps first, great. Obviously don't take the trade as soon as it gap, just wait. Let it push here first, take the buys, TP. It came back for the retracement, take the sales again back down to the downside. That'd be a fire play. Fire for sure. All right. I'm done yapping about gold. Let's go ahead and slide over to the fan favorite, Nikita. It's funny. I heard somebody call it that, or I read somebody call it that on Threads. Ever since then, that's always been my name for it. Higher time frame. Obviously, as you can see, it looked like we're in a downtrend, right? So we started out bullish. We went sideways a little bit. Want to go tap into these highs up here. Now we're going to the sales. I talked about this in my Discord. I'm gonna talk about it again on YouTube. For YouTube, I'm letting y'all know, like on weeks when there isn't a lot of news, just understand that the market is going to be trending one way for the most part of the year. I mean, the year of the week, right? So, like as y'all can see, for example, Sunday the market took off for buys just back to the highs, and then what happened the rest of the week? It literally was in a downtrend. Like I had no reason to look for buys. I only focused on just taking sell setups on them. And then as you can see here, it got the ranging, got the consolidating, overall downtrend. That's it. No reason for me to look for buys. Any fake out buy move that happened, cool. It could have been a scalp in here, but overall I knew what is my overall direction for the week is going to be sales. Until some major news come, I'm going to be bearish or I'm going to be bullish depending on like whatever the trend of the week is. But last week, as y'all can see, we were clearly in the downtrend. So for this week, what I'm gonna look for, or better yet, what I'm gonna be waiting for today and Monday. Sunday and Monday are usually the days where the market sets the tone for like what is gonna be our area. My preference is I want to wait to see what's gonna happen when it comes back here or when it comes back in here. Yes, there might be a potential sell play up into this level too. But my preference, like the higher probability, the more liquidity area that I want to see Nas come to will be up into this stretcher. If by New York, maybe the market's pushing here, then yeah, we could potentially look for fake breakout here, take sales, want to come back inside the zone and target this low right here. But as of right now, as of Tokyo, what am I looking for? Sunday night, Monday, London. Like, what am I looking for? This area right here for buys. We got to set buy limits throughout the week, or we can let it push under the zone and take buys when it comes back up. Simple. I'm literally it's and if you go back and watch all my other videos, I told you I'm giving you a part of one of my simple strategies I look for. I just gotta pay attention. But so simple, bro. It's just so simple. One and a two. And if we decide to go for 200 points, great. Simple, simple, simple trade. All you gotta do is wait. I'm not saying I'm gonna sell when market open. I'm gonna sell back to here because that's basically saying that you trying to say where it's going. Let the market show you. Even though yes, I think it is gonna go there. I want you to really show me first because sometimes I might enter early and it decides to be choppy first before it gets into the move. That's the reason why like I have my days where I decide on when I want to trade Tokyo over here on Nas, and then I have my days when I don't want to trade Tokyo over here on Nas. Just because not even just for Sunday, but just in general, you gotta know what days you can trade it at night and what days you need to just let it rock. Because if you don't, you're gonna get cooked. 100 point stop loss. I might bring it down a little bit, but let's see. CP1, CP2, CP3. Perfect. All right. And that's gonna be simple. I'm gonna just leave it at that. If it decides to run, like let's say on the Monday we up here and it decides to run off, great. We can talk about how it swings. I'll talk about that in the Discord. But if not, this is gonna be the calm, simple trade. And then, like I said too, the final one would literally just be these are my main entries. So this one and this one will be my main preference. This would be a trade that could potentially just be a scalp, which would be tap into these highs from Friday and then immediately sell off. That would be like the last. I would consider this probably like, it's funny because it's probably used to be like my A setups back in the day, but now it's more so. I call this like a B minus. The overall stuff is still good, but preference wise, I would rather break through this and come to these highs, and then that's what I look. But all right, I'm gonna leave out this beautiful setup. And then let me download this, make sure I put that in chat. And then last but not least, we are going to go over to US 30, aka YM. Now, on this one of my favorite pairs to trade. If you don't, well, I talk about this all the time. Besides gold, really, I feel like every other video I'm saying the pair on my favorite pairs, but like US 30 is always kind of like this is my version of my safe haven indice pair or future spirit. Because like when it's moving, it's clean, it's straight to the point. It still makes big moves, and the price action is I can say price action. The candlestick pattern structure can be smooth as well, as long as you understand the direction. If you don't know where the direction is going in, then you might get cooked on it. As you can see, this is a terrible day when it was choppy. But same thing last week in particular, I talked about it. Like I said with Nas, if it's no news week, if it's a week of low volume where there isn't a lot of news coming out, expect that the market is going to stay in one trending direction, right? So over here, it's kind of obvious what I want to look for. And I'm gonna just keep it small and simple. We're gonna do two trades. So this was the previous support structure that it broke out of to drop, and here we are back retesting. Market sold off. We have us a nice retracement. So it's safe to say that we will potentially want to look for sales on US 30, coming in London back to these levels down here. Now this is option one. And like I said, I'm only gonna give you a two because, like I said, it's so simple that it don't even matter for real. I don't gotta give a lot of steps on this pair. So this one, let me start this up. My standard is always 120, and then TP2, we're gonna go 229. Boom. And then stop loss is gonna be right above this high. All right. Wow. And then on the flip side, we go if it closes back above the zone, right? If it closes back above the zone, I can also see 30 pushing up. And I'm gonna do stop loss under here. I can see TP1 here. I don't know if that's 12, 120 points or not, but I can see it retesting there and then dropping. And then you have this structure right here. So like if you want to scout this and take this trade, quick 500 pips or 50-point move. And then the full move once again will be back at this high. But honestly, I could just make it my original standard TP, which is the 1200, 120-point move. And then I'm trying to think. That might be it. That actually might be it as far as the buys go. And then, you know what? Since it is Monday, I'll give y'all one more TP up here. But for me, like I said, my standard is always 120 over here. And then if it really is running, like if I can tell my momentum is strong, cool, I'll hold it. But if not, this isn't TP1. TP1 for me is usually always 400 pips or aka 120 points. But since I'm going to respect this stretcher, we respect our canvases, man, because all it takes is just one breakout back to this and immediately melt. Like it actually might, you know what? Let me paint the scenario for y'all so y'all don't get cooked. Don't enter as soon as it break, right? Because it might just break and it's gonna reject. Like I know after TP1 smack, it's gonna pull back anyway. It's gonna come back to this zone and it might even come all the way back down here. You're gonna be nervous. If you don't feel like stomaching that, just wait for that pullback. Wait till it break back out. Like once it comes back under, set a buy stop if you want. I don't care. Then we look for the push outside the zone, and that's when we take the trade. And it should be pushing past TP1 to TP2, maybe even TP3, but just I know for sure TP2 for sure. And then we'll go from there when the time comes. That's a terrible little arrow that I just drew right there. But y'all get the point. Overall though, it should be a good week. Last week was pretty smooth. Like we got more news coming out this week every single day, so the volume is gonna be back. We have earnings coming out. A lot of important news from the company sides of things. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that in the market news section this week in the Discord. But besides that, I feel like y'all got everything that y'all need from a technical standpoint. Market should be, like I said, one of them weeks. So make sure y'all are ready to have fun, be patient, and be disciplined. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. If not, I will catch you on this Sunday for the next market outlook. Peace out.